Hey, everybody, and welcome to Boss Talks. We have a great show for you today. Desiree Starr, she is the Director of Learning and Development with West Shore, and that is out of the Orlando area of Florida. She is very active in the local affiliate there and just has I would say, there's quite a few people that recommended her. So I think she's local famous. I don't know. Like, she She is a lot of fun to talk to. She loves to bring humor into everything learning and just whatever she does to make it fun and engaging when it comes to uh, whatever she's facilitating or teaching you, which I love that. So I feel like we're going to have a lot of fun today, and I hope you do too. So be sure to ask questions, engage with us, and let's make sure that we really enjoy this Boss Talks. But before we get to Desiree, I just wanted to introduce the show. So I am Evan Happel. I'm your host with Boss Talks. I'm with Community Boss, and we have a great solution for you when it comes to parking, amenities, and mapping. We got all the bosses, right? Parking boss, amenity boss, welcome boss. So if you need to boss up your community so you can manage like a boss, that's what we like to say. Reach out to me, make some extra income for your community, and make sure you are making it a great place to live for your residents. So let's talk about it if you have any needs there. But today it's about Desiree. So let's get to it. All
Hello,
right.
Evan.
How's it going?
It's going great, and I just want to remind everyone that I am in Orlando, Florida, but West Shore is actually based out of Boston. So, in case
Boston.
anybody was looking to find West Shore, um,
Okay.
apply online for any open positions. We are located out of Boston, but I'm in Orlando, Florida.
Okay. Nice. So do you have kind of a smattering of properties kind of all over the East Coast?
We do. We're in Tampa. We're in
Okay.
Naples. We're in Jacksonville, Tallahassee, Gainesville, in Savannah. We're in Columbia and Charleston. We are in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're just outside of Wilmington. We're in Richmond, Virginia, and we are in both College Station and Dallas, Texas, or
Oh,
suburbs
wow.
of Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Nice. So yeah, you got a good spread there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So you
Kentucky and Tennessee. Nicole
Oh, don't
Hartman, one
forget.
of our regional managers, would never forgive me for forgetting Kentucky and Tennessee.
Is that where she lives?
She does. She lives in Kentucky.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She keeps promising me bourbon, but it hasn't happened yet.
Ah, that reminds me. Where is Oh, it's hidden. But a past guest lives in Kentucky or Tennessee. One of those. Anyways, they sent me after the show. I send coffee and they sent me coffee, but they sent me a coffee that was aged, or I don't even know what you want to call it,
Aged
burned in
barreled.
barrels, but in
Mm,
bourbon barrels.
nice.
So
Coffee
it
and
was a
bourbon
bourbon
barrels.
coffee, and then they gave me a mug that says probably bourbon.
That's amazing.
So it
That
was
is
fun. It was great.
fantastic.
But you will get some coffee. Just FYI, that'll be coming your direction after the show.
Excellent. And if my boss, Jeremy Milton, is listening, I promise you it will be straight coffee. There will be no bourbon in it. Okay.
As far as he knows.
As far as he
But you're at home, so it could
Listen,
be anything.
I'm on camera. I'm either facilitating a webinar or working one-on-one with one of our teams or conducting some second interviews, so I wouldn't be able to pass that off.
Are you saying slurring your words doesn't work well in a, in a
It would not work
facilitation?
well. Absolutely not.
It might be obvious. I don't know.
It could be obvious.
We're gonna have a great time.
Can you imagine? No. No, I
Oh,
listen, as you get older, you would fall asleep. So people would know.
that's true. It's not
I would
like
just be sleeping.
this is
Not like back
wild
in the
and
20s.
this is a wild and crazy time. No, I'm post 40 years old. That means it just puts me to sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. A good night is Netflix and asleep by 10. Times have changed, people.
Yeah, that's right. I want to make sure you're seeing the people as they pop on. So make sure you click that comment button up in the upper right corner. because we already have a couple viewers. I think they're people that know you and love you. So we
Oh
got
my goodness gracious.
Ricardo and
Hello,
Heather,
Ricardo and
whom
Heather.
Heather Sizemore is the one that I believe nominated you to be a boss on Boss Talks, and
Well,
she was
she's a boss,
previously on.
so
Well, she was a guest as well. So, and I get to meet her in Vegas, which I'm
excellent.
super excited about.
Yeah, you're gonna love her. Heather and I go way, way back, and she's one of my favorite human beings ever. So you're gonna really enjoy meeting her.
Which I'm gonna have to just say it. You need to find a ticket to apartmentalize.
Right? I'm not speaking this year, so it wasn't on my where places I need to go. I mean, not that I'm not going to miss Apartmentalize, but I'll be at FAA, and that's kind of where I put my priority this year. And my friend Russ Webb, What Timing, is who I'm co-presenting with this year at FAA, and we're doing a
Nice.
super fun game show. And if anybody knows Russ, they know that it will be a really good time. So
Nice. Well, we'll be at FAA as well. I don't think I won't personally be there, but my company will be. So we will have a presence there.
I think you need to be.
I might be. I don't know. I can't remember if the timing works out for me. But if it does, I was there last year. So
Excellent.
we
Excellent. I mean,
probably ran right
just to
past
see
each
Russ
other.
and I in the game show should be worth it, the travel in and of itself.
Does sound like a good time.
Yeah.
Does indeed. All right. Well, we could chit chat all day long and I would
Right.
enjoy myself, but I don't know if anybody else would. But there are a few questions I like to ask before we jump into all things Desiree and what makes you tick. What's your story? And by the way, if anybody's familiar with our show, these circles, this is new. So the platform put us in circles, and I don't know. I like it. I think Desiree, you like it.
I
So
loved it. Yeah.
maybe we're gonna run with circles. I don't know. This is kind of fun. So here we are.
I'm a
We're in circle.
pioneer. I'm a pioneer of the circle.
Yeah, we're circling it up. Okay. So first question. When it comes to parking, is there any what comes to mind? Is there a story? Is there an anecdote? Is there some learning that you can share in that topic?
It's funny when you think about some of the biggest resident complaints that are out there in our industry, not specific to my company, but out there in the industry, you hear about parking. If people have assigned parking, they wish they didn't. If they don't have assigned parking, they wish they did. They wish there was more of parking. So I think if, companies can offer a solution to that problem of parking, you're way ahead of the curve.
This is true. I agree with you. I'll just leave it right there. Get that solution, people. I
Get the solution.
add to it a little bit. I recently learned, and there's all these studies all of a sudden from all of the like online review platforms. So you got Grace Hill, you got Jay Turner, all these companies, and all of a sudden they've been putting out parking data. And it's obviously that means there's a problem here.
Yeah.
And that we're kind of ignoring this situation and we need to do something about it. So, again,
Well, and not only that, not just, when you look at resident reviews, but when you look at apartment searches and what are the things that people are searching for. And,
yes,
we
parking.
forget how important, people type in AC. Are you putting AC as one of your amenities?
Yeah.
Are you pet friendly? Do you have parking solutions? And again,
Right.
maybe you're the one community that puts that out there and you're, again, ahead of the competition.
No, it's actually true. I think it was Zillow that said one of the first things searched for is guest parking because
That
they
makes
want to
sense.
know if they can have a friend over. If you have
Just so
nowhere
long as
for
it's
them
not
to
over
park.
7 days, because then it's not a friend anymore. They need to be a
That's
resident,
right.
right?
And with our solution, that. So, anyways, sidebar. Okay. Well, thank you for your anecdote on parking. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Next question. This revolves around music. So I want to know your go-to jam when it comes to getting motivated, maybe that speaking engagement or that facilitation to get you kind of up and going. Maybe you're playing the song for your class. I'm not sure. What is your song? What is your artist?
So I have to be honest, and I'm just embarrassed of this. I do have a go-to song, and anybody that knows me knows the answer. And Ricardo, don't tell on me in chat. But I would say that if I had to think about
No,
music
we
in
want to know the
general,
song. You have to, because this goes on a
Ludic-
playlist. This goes on a playlist.
Ludacris, Ludacris is my jam. And when I bought my car, my most recent car, I said I want to feel Ludacris in the speakers in surround sound when I'm flying down the highway. And that's truly why my husband and I test drove Sebastian. That's my car. And as soon as we got in, Ludacris came on, and I said, I think it's kind of meant to be. So Ludacris is what absolutely fires me up and gets me going.
Okay, what one or two songs of Ludacris are your go-to?
I'm trying to keep this family friendly.
It doesn't matter.
I would rather not say because my favorite song is probably not family friendly, but Ludacris does have a lovely collection of songs that you could play. So some of my favorite ones are probably more on the E side. But
I still
it's about the beat. It's about what gets me,
I
fired up
still
and,
need
and ready
song.
to go.
I need songs. These go on a playlist. This is
Okay.
important.
Okay. I
Desiree,
can't
this
tell you
is
about it later.
important.
I can't tell you about it later.
No, you have to say it right now. You can
Okay,
bleep.
let me think about my favorite one, okay?
Okay, all
Because
right, all
again,
right.
I do have he's my favorite, and like his
I
music
love it.
totally gets me going, but I'm going to think about a favorite one.
I love it. No,
So, yeah.
there was some Ludacris songs back in high school. So I'm with you. That was my time period of growing up, was that particular hip hop rap scene.
Yeah.
Um, and we had a nickname. I was on the swim team one year as a senior. I was on the JV squad. I was self-nominated captain of the JV squad as a senior.
Nominated.
Yep. Me and two other people, and our little cohort of three people. We were called Ludicrous. Was our, like,
Nice.
the name of our group. We were Ludicrous, and so we got our own uh, sweatpants made with Ludacris down the side of them.
Nice. Nice. I mean, I got
So
to tell you, I would probably wear that. Okay, if I had to pick one, I would probably say how low.
how low?
How low can you go?
Okay,
How
okay,
low?
okay, okay, okay.
Don't make me
All right,
sing. Don't make me sing.
all right,
People
all
are
right.
look. We're dropping viewers
We're losing them.
as
Uh,
soon as I start singing.
no, we're not. We have actually gained. We have now 4 people that have commented, which
Oh,
is
nice.
fantastic. We've got Russ Webb, who said, "Who doesn't love Desiree?"
Oh, he's
And
so
then
sweet.
Daniel Fuston, who was a guest of mine last week. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with him. Outdoor amenities are huge. Those open spaces, especially, it's not just for student housing anymore.
yeah, yep. Use your space. Let people know you have it, and keep letting them know. Right. Make it
Yep.
easy to use.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, fantastic. And then finally, your caffeinated beverage of choice.
So I'm not high maintenance when I go to Starbucks.
Okay.
However, comma,
All right. However, comma.
it is it's a coconut milk
All right.
chai latte, no foam, no water, 160 degrees. Yeah.
How did you come to this combination?
So I worked with somebody who drank probably 3 of those a day, except hers
Okay.
was not with the coconut milk. Hers was just the no foam, no water, because when they make the coffee, they fill it up with so much foam and water, you're wasting it. And then I like it super hot. I don't want to drink it in 4 minutes and it be lukewarm, so I want it super hot as they can make it. And then I have to be really honest with you, and Ricardo knows this because we were at an AIM conference together, and I was introduced to a dirty chai, which is
Mm.
1 shot of espresso, and then a filthy chai, 2 shots of espresso. So
Wow.
I'm a filthy chai kind of girl. But it's espresso, everyone. It is espresso that makes it filthy.
Two shots and then the chai and all the
And then
other
the chai,
things that
it's
you said.
delicious. Delicious.
I've never had that. And then is
Oh,
it
you're gonna have to
iced?
try.
Ice? No,
No,
you want it hot, hot, hot,
I want
hot.
it hot, hot, hot.
Okay, all right, huh? And you get this at Starbucks, or
That's
where you?
Starbucks.
Okay, so
Yeah,
if I go into
Starbucks.
Starbucks and I say I want a doubly dirty chai, how do you say it?
Or filthy. Filthy
Filthy.
chai.
I want a filthy dirty chai straight
Filthy
off
chai.
the ground.
Well,
I want it. I
don't say it
want
like
the
that because you might scare them. Yeah,
straight.
they actually introduced it. I just ordered my chai and the barista said, "Do you want it dirty?" And I'm like, well, "What does that mean?" One shot of espresso. And then the next day he said, "Hi, Desiree. Did you want to try it filthy today?" I was like, "Probably. What does that mean?"
Oh my
So,
gosh, Desiree,
yeah.
there's so much here. Ludicrous,
I know.
filthy, filthy chai. There's your name. We won't even go there
No,
because
not at all.
oh gosh, this is
Oh,
good.
oh, a cinnamon dolce topping to make it really good. Stephanie, I have to tell you, I have never thought about adding that to the chai. Now I'm going to have to. Now I'm going to become that complicated Starbucks person.
Yeah. Do you know Stephanie?
Thanks for the
She also was
the intel.
a
I
former
don't,
boss
I don't,
talker.
but I do now.
She's in Florida. She's in Southeast Florida. Last year she
Nice.
was at FAA. I don't know if she plans to go up to Orlando this year, but it was down in her neck of the woods last year. So yes.
Oh, now Daniel's talking about a Texas chai latte. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Cinderella
gosh.
is a dirty chai and pumpkin spice. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, we have to stop talking about this because now I'm getting a little thirsty. I'm
We're
gonna
gonna just have to
somehow, I
line
just
them up.
want you to know, I'm gonna incorporate this somehow into my next learning session for
Okay.
real.
I love it.
This is somehow gonna be incorporated. I promise you that.
Different levels of chai. How dirty are you?
Yeah, I don't know if HR would love that one, but we're gonna think of a way to incorporate this.
I mean, we're talking about a drink, not them. Where's their mind going? I don't know.
She'll be collecting all the swag. Wonderful. We are
Oh,
talking about a
yep, she'll
chai.
be there.
We are talking about
Yep.
a chai.
Make sure you guys link up. And Stephanie, go to her session. What session are you teaching,
Perfect.
Desiree? What's your session?
With Russ Webb, I yes, it's with Russ Webb,
Yes.
and it is we're doing a game show.
Okay.
So it's gonna be super fun. And I knew Ricardo was gonna tell on me. I knew Ricardo was gonna tell on me. All right, truth be told, full confession, my favorite song of all time is Sir Mix-a-Lot. There you go. There you have it. And I made him at FAA years ago. They had a thing where you could make your own CD, and I made Ricardo do it with me, and he and I lip sync to "Baby Got Back." We sure did.
You know that's from my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Mr. Sir Mix-a-Lot is from Seattle.
Oh, that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew he was going to
So,
tell on me. I knew that was going to come out.
all right. Well,
That's okay.
that's gonna be on the playlist. Coming
You
to you
definitely,
guys. Yeah.
definitely.
So Baby Got Back and then the
And
Ludacris
Ludacris.
song. So
Yeah,
we'll
we
do
love
both
Ludacris.
songs. Both
Okay.
songs. Yep.
Compliments of me.
Yep. Compliments of Desiree. All right. So be watching for the Boss Talks YouTube channel playlist. It's already there. That makes us, I think we're approaching 45 songs. So you got
Wow.
a whole day work day, I think, there for music.
Fantastic.
Yes,
Looking
yes.
forward to listening to it.
Yeah, it's very diverse. Let me tell you. It's good.
I bet.
All right. All right. I think we covered it. I think we covered the dirty chai and all the levels of
And
dirty,
all the music and everything.
the music and everything. All right, now we'll actually get into all things Desiree. And so I would love to just get a little bit more detail on you, your journey in this industry, and how you got to training and figuring out that this is actually something you love.
Yeah. I started as a part-time leasing consultant years ago, and we'll leave it at that, just years ago. And
Years
I
ago.
years ago, I worked for a company that is no longer around, Oxford Management, and I had the honor and privilege to work alongside somebody that I think everyone knows, who to this day continues to be my mentor, and that's Alex Jacku. And Alex Jackie one day said, "Come on, we're going on a little journey." And she took me to where her team, she was in charge of everything, but she was in charge of our training department. And she had me go to a session with her team. And out of nowhere, they asked me to come up and present on something. And I presented on something that had to do with the movie Forrest Gump. My dad had just passed away, and there was a scene in Forrest Gump where he talks about they're throwing rocks. And Jenny said, sometimes in life there's not enough rocks. And it really just, it kind of impacted me, that movie. And as I was talking about it and sharing this story, this literally a light bulb, sounds so cliche, but literally a light bulb went off, and I thought, this is what I want to do. And Alex gave me that opportunity, and from there I started doing some of our sales training, and was doing marketing and training for years, but found that as our industry progressed and those roles kind of split off, my passion is definitely with the learning and development side.
Nice. I mean, that's fantastic that you were able to discover that.
Yeah.
Now, have you always been somebody that loves humor and incorporating that into just your daily life?
Absolutely. And it's funny because after a couple of sessions, I have had people. Russ and I presented at FAA a couple years ago, and we did a session on customer service. And when Russ and I get together, we just laugh automatically. But I was like, one of us kind of has to be the serious one. And somebody was like, "You were more serious than I've ever seen you." And I was like, "Well, Russ and I would probably be running in circles together if I wasn't. I had to like stay focused." But I do love to use humor. One of the reasons why is, I realized something embarrassing is probably going to happen. And it's probably happened to me when I've taught. You can't take yourself too seriously. And I think that
Yeah.
that also helps people to connect with you when you seem more authentic and present your real self. Again, going back to when I first started doing facilitation and training, I was presenting something about, I was at another session with another company who gave me this wonderful opportunity. And we were talking about my favorite time of the year. And I was telling this story about how I love October because baseball season is ending and football season is in full swing. And the instructor was like, "No." And I'm in front of, a group of 20 people, my peers. And I was like, "What do you mean, no?" She's like, "That's not what it is." And I was like, "Well, yeah, it's October. It's, my two favorite sports combining." And she kept pushing me. And finally, I realized the reason that that meant so much to me is, again, the connection that I had with my dad, where we watched football games together. I'm a Cowboys fan. There is nothing to brag about being a Cowboys fan anymore. But it is the connection that I have with my dad. Literally, when I was 5 years old, I, wrote to the Dallas Cowboys and said I wanted to be their quarterback. And there were years when I probably could have done a better job. But anyway, it was really finding the real reason, the why behind what you do. And those two opportunities, with Alex and the other one, really helped me tap into being authentic and sharing your most vulnerable self really helps people connect with you.
Yeah, for sure. I think not only that, your authentic self, humor, making it fun. Like, I couldn't do this show without just letting it kind of fly however it's going to fly.
Right.
And if I was just sitting here asking questions, first of all, I'd be bored. Um, so I just think it's a lot more fun to just see how people are just naturally more authentically. So
Yeah. Yeah. And when you use humor, you think about not only in person sessions, but virtual sessions. Those are so hard to get people engaged. And you have to provide a platform where people feel like they can be engaged. So I might do, a Kahoots quiz or do
yeah,
something else just to kind of make it not feel like you're checking a box, because that's what I find happens when we talk about training in companies. People simply want to check that compliance box and get it off of their to-do list. And that's not the way that you want to embrace learning and development. Learning and development is something that can really help improve performance, engagement, and retention. And unless you really think about how you're connecting with your teams, it's never going to work.
Yeah. Well, and as you put as your first point, training is the foundation of company culture. So, do you want to unpack that a little bit more? How do you shape the company through the training?
It begins with onboarding. When you think about it, what are you teaching your new employees? What is the why behind what they do? And what are you teaching them as your most important value? And I'll use West Shore as an example. Russ, I'll use West Shore as an example. Our main core value is can do attitude. And we weave that through our learning sessions. We weave that through our KPIs. And when I teach my customer service class, it's all about that can do attitude. What are the examples that we can share to enhance that customer experience? And when you talk about culture, again, it's not a buzzword. It's something that with learning and development, it helps to reinforce again in every learning session. Are you thinking about how you're transferring the knowledge? Because everyone is a part of an employee's training. Their supervisors involved. Are they reinforcing what they've learned in the session? Is it something that from the top down, is everyone speaking that same language? And I did write a couple of stats down that I do want to share.
All right, let's do it.
LinkedIn, which we love
Yes,
LinkedIn. Hello.
we are.
94% of employees said that they'd stay at a company longer if it invested in their learning and development. And there's a study that's not LinkedIn, which goes even further. And I know millennials get such a bad rap, but 67% of millennials say they would have stayed at their previous job had they been given a professional development, a pathway, a learning pathway. And that's a pretty high number. So when we talk about culture, again, you don't just talk about it, you have to teach it and you have to reinforce it.
Yeah. No, I think that's very true. Like if especially if you're just let's say you're not moving up a ladder, right? You maintain the same role, which some people are totally fine with that. Like that's fine. And that's good. But I think what would make them feel like, to your point, that there is something more than just this role happening is ongoing training so that they can be up on what's changed and what makes them better at what they're doing regardless of it being the same thing and not moving around. um Otherwise things get stale and just boring.
Yeah. Absolutely. And think about our industry. I mean, great. We're renting apartments. There's four walls, a ceiling, and a floor. But so much has changed technology wise.
Yeah,
And when you look at your current employee base, what are you doing to upskill them? Are you providing them the
right.
resources and the tools so that maybe they don't want to be a manager? Maybe they want to make a lateral move, but they have the tools and the skills to be successful,
Yeah. Well, and
you know?
and the trainings could expose them to things they didn't know they liked, you know? They're like, "Oh,
Absolutely.
I like that part of the industry, and I didn't even know it existed." I don't
Didn't
know,
even know it
like
existed. Absolutely. And you bring up a really good point. One of the things that I started doing is we have what we call learning labs, and they're 30-minute sessions, really quick micro learning. But what I do is I go out and I find employees who are the subject matter expert. And instead of me talking to them for another half an hour, I have these subject matter experts and they're teaching to their peers. And it provides them an opportunity for growth outside of I'm moving up to the next level. They're able to share their insights and their experiences. And our teams have really loved this. And I've got another one next Friday with three of our community managers, and it's going to be amazing.
yeah, why not have the rock stars in their role who wanna stay there, who do awesome, who perform well, train other people to do like they do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Like,
they're our
makes
best they're our best trainers. I mean,
totally.
all I'm doing is just I help to navigate. That's all I
Right,
do. I'm
right.
facilitating for you, but the real knowledge, and I say this every time I teach a session, I'm gonna probably learn as much, if not more, as you. all I'm doing is helping to facilitate a conversation. If you do a training session right, that's what you're doing. You're imparting your knowledge, but you're also encouraging this exchange of information between the attendees.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I love that approach. Bring in the experts that are, they're, and because what you're saying is accurate. I met somebody. I don't know that you know them, but at FAA, I met somebody that her name's Sandra. I forget her last name. She's out of Fort Myers area in Naples, and
Okay.
she was the president of their local affiliate.
Okay.
She's a community manager. She's been in the industry for years, years upon years, like you said. But she really has, to my understanding, has no desire to move out of that role as a community manager. But she was the president of their affiliate. She's obviously somebody that is respected and people learn from. So I don't think we need to always force people to move into that manager role because maybe they don't want to, like they don't want to be a
Right.
regional,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they
I mean,
they
we used to have,
thrive.
we used to think about those tiers. Like you've been a leasing consultant for 1.2 years, time to be an assistant manager. And then you're there for 2 years. All right, now it's time to move to manager. Well, it doesn't look like that anymore.
Yeah,
You want marketing, you've got a marketing. You want to be in asset management, facility management, you know, and providing the opportunities and again the upskilling opportunities outside of your company. LinkedIn has classes all the time. I know we've got the webinar Wednesdays that are amazing. So, what can you provide to your teams outside of what you normally do? And oh, by the way, as much as I love our LMSs, we have to provide people something outside of the LMS. Is it hands on training? Is it one on one training? What does that look like?
right, right. Yeah, not just a portal you're watching videos on a computer.
Right, right. I'm the worst at that too. I'm like, is there a fast forward button?
This is true. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Yeah.
if there's plenty of virtual trainings where I'm like, this is how long?
Did we already get to the point? We still have 37 minutes?
Exactly. Too much talking.
Too
Let's
much
move this
talking.
along.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like getting there, getting to the point. It's my
Absolutely.
jam.
Be bright, be brief, be gone.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my friend Kathy Hensley. Kathy Hensley
Bright,
from Great Star. That is
be
her mantra.
bright, brief, and
Be
be
bright, be
gone.
brief, be gone. What you
Okay.
need, what, how, and okay, conversation's over. Don't need the backstory. Just what can I do to support you?
I like that. That works for me. I know some people really love a story. I don't know, but I like the cliff notes. I'm really like, just tell me when
Right.
do you ever get in a conversation and someone's talking to you and you're just like, can we get there? Because this
It's weird because normally I
long-winded.
can hit the 30-second fast forward. It's not working in this conversation.
It's not good. It's not good in all situations. Probably not good in relationships with other people if you're married.
Yeah.
But it is how my brain works.
Yeah. It's funny. We just did a session on what your professional love language is. And it's important to talk about that with the people that surround you. Now, obviously, if you've met somebody for the first time, it'd be a kind of weird conversation like, here's my professional love language. But
Yeah.
how do you like to be communicated to and how do you like to communicate? It cuts down on
Yes.
a lot of that miscommunication that happens. So, what's your professional love language?
I've never heard the professional love language.
I mean, you're welcome.
Okay. I'm gonna have to dive into that a little bit.
I can send you some info on it.
Okay.
I'll
I
send you some info.
There is always the different, people's the way, I don't know, their learning style, their leadership style, there's
Sure.
1,000 different things you can take and find these things out, but I've never heard that take. That's interesting.
Yeah. And it's very similar to, the love languages, but do you thrive on words of affirmation? Do you
Mhm.
thrive on people pitching in and helping you out? Where do you thrive? And it's important for you to know that about yourself. And also, again, if you're a leader, how to motivate your team and keep them engaged.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's true, and I mean, I'm even recently realizing like my team, because I have some folks, and I need to always be mindful of each one's different.
Yeah,
The way they are, they to get them engaged is different, and so, and motivation and all that. Everybody's motivated differently. So
everybody is right.
um you can't treat everybody the same. It just doesn't really work that way.
It sure doesn't.
Well, I love that. So yeah, send that away.
I will.
Maybe put that in the comments post show so
Okay,
others
sure,
can see that. That'd be fantastic.
sure.
All right. And then so I think we kind of unpacked that, the culture aspect and things. I think that was really great. Thanks for sharing those things. The
Absolutely.
next thing that you mentioned was strategic learning and development and how it directly impacts performance. So strong training and things like that. We've kind of covered that a little bit, but what is it that you mean by like strategic in that regard?
Well, again, it starts with onboarding. Glassdoor says that companies that have a strong onboarding, what they're going to find is they're going to retain their new hires 82% more. Because I will tell you, from a learning and development standpoint, the thing that keeps me up at night is if somebody quits within their 90 days. Because what
Mm,
that tells me is they started to second guess that decision to come with the company. So, what are we doing to be strategic about, again, their onboarding? Are we teaching them the why behind their role? Are we teaching them how their role impacts the entire performance of the company? Do they understand what the KPIs are? And are we
mm,
teaching them not only what the KPI is, how we measure it, and what does success look like? So that's kind of what I'm talking about with being strategic. And if you think about, again, your own companies, if you have a deficit in any of those KPIs, what are you doing to reinforce what good looks like? We can't just
mm.
say, well, you didn't meet your goal. Why? Are we offering, on Friday, I'm doing a pop up learning event, and it's one of the KPIs that we're struggling with a little bit. So we're going to show them what good looks like. We're going to give them best practices, and then we're going to expect this transfer of knowledge. We're going to expect to see some improvement in the next 30 days. And one of the things I do is measure that. I look at the metrics and I measure before the class and then after the class. Did we have that successful, knowledge of transfer?
Yeah, no, that's good. And also during that period of training, you're also driving the culture, like you've said. So
Absolutely.
however you want people to perceive this company, that's your time. Like they're going to experience it on their first few days. I mean, those first few days are important too. There's so many companies that
Absolutely.
I've gotten hired by, and you kind of like muddle through those first couple days. You're like, all right, well, I got hired. I'm waiting on a computer. Like you're a remote worker. Like, all
Right.
right, well, what do I do today? I will, I don't know, surf the internet because like the guidance and like there it's so much to be said for somebody like yourself who has a plan for that person from day one versus they show up
Yeah.
and they're just like twiddling their thumbs and they're like, okay, what, the first job I ever got, there was a lot of good of their onboarding process, but I left the companies, and not because I wanted to be there any longer, or because I didn't want to be there any longer, I should say. But they did fly me to headquarters. They had a whole thing and a training, and they explained the history of the company and where we were going. And we met the CEO and all the things. They made you feel important in the midst of a very large company. So he had enough time to come talk to like 20 new hires, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
it
really
does,
impactful.
yeah, it does mean something.
They're like, I'm not just a number. Here I am important. Onboarding is something that's it's really important to me. And I'm, working on some interactive onboarding guides by role so that anything you could possibly need to know, here's the resource for it. It's not just here's your job description, go figure it out. And I've had one of those situations where I had a new job, and literally here's your binder that tells you everything. There's your workspace. Let us know if you have any questions. What? And I
Yeah.
think about that, in my role and what can I do to never have anybody have that experience? Because
Right.
they really do decide in the first couple of days whether it's a fit. You talk to so many people and they're like, I knew on day one that it wasn't going to be a fit. So, what can we do to make that experience better? How can we make learning stick? How can we make the culture stick? Because you can't just talk about culture, you have to teach culture. You have to reinforce culture by, the things that you say, the things that you do. What does your company believe in? Again, what's the why behind why you do what you do?
Yep. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I've worked a few places and some people nail it. There's few that just don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it does have an impact on where you work because
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, I think what needs to be remembered is people that start companies or are at the top. Maybe they see the what drives them or whatever, but they need to make sure that they're communicating that to the people that are working for them
Right.
because they're not making what you're making, right? Like from a dollars standpoint, let's just be
Sure.
serious.
Right.
And like so whatever you're paying them, although that does help keep them there, that isn't going to necessarily, especially now. I just think things have changed. People used to just get into jobs and stay there forever,
Forever. Yeah.
regardless, and that's just not how it is now.
No, it isn't.
And that could be a thing if people did a better job, I think, in,
Absolutely.
in doing what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's what the things that you talk about in the new hire orientation where everything is shiny and bright and happy. Are they feeling that and living that months down the road? Because, every time again there is a learning opportunity, it's our opportunity to re-engage them, for them to want to come to work every day and make that employer the employer of choice.
Yeah.
Everything that we do impacts culture. And I don't think that learning and development gets enough credit for that. I really don't. But your people are happy because you've invested in their professional development. People are happy because there's a clear career pathway. And again, maybe that's not leasing to assistant manager to manager,
Hmm.
but are you giving them the tools and resources? Are you, providing those upskilling opportunities that we talked about?
Yeah.
Companies that have a culture where they focus on a learning environment for people and a learning culture, they're going to
Hmm.
be 30 to 50% more likely to retain them. I mean, those are just the facts. So, we have to really think about what are we providing to our team members to make them want to stay with us and grow with us.
Yeah.
And people
And
learn when they're laughing. Russ Webb 1000%.
yeah, no, yes, they sure don't when they're not laughing because they're probably sleeping with their eyes open.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm here.
No, I totally love it. I totally love it. Yeah.
Yeah. But what you were just saying, that's exactly, the culture doesn't happen by accident. Like
No.
you
You
literally,
have to work hard at it.
well, and if you're doing nothing, you're still creating a culture.
Yes, you are.
You're sending a message. You're telling people this is who we are.
Yep. Yep.
So that's also not accidental. That's just passive, I guess.
Right. Right. And you're setting a culture, think about a virtual learning environment. What is acceptable? What are best practices? And do you enforce those? I have this pre-test that I talked about for our leasing class, and I tell them you have to arrive 5 minutes early just to make sure everything's set up, cameras on. I don't let anybody in the doors at 10:01. You're late, and you don't get to come in. You have to be respectful not only of your time, but of your coworkers' time. And when you
Yeah.
show up late, that's not being respectful. So you have to kind of create that culture where you manage those expectations and what does good look like, and you have to enforce it every day. It's easy to slack off, it's easy to let somebody slide, but when you create a culture where excellence is your goal, excellence is going to be what you get.
Hmm. Yeah. And showcasing it yourself, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. No, I appreciate those words. I thank you for to kind of unpacking those things and just really making sure people understand that this is something that you have to think about it. This is why having a Desiree at your company, like there's a lot of companies that don't even have learning and development people. Our company is
True.
small. It's kind of a challenge for us to have that. Um, but once you get to a certain size, it's important because otherwise you have people that have a different experience across the region, across the country, and then you'll have them come together and then they're going to be sharing their difference
Right.
within the company, and that's weird because you're like,
Yeah.
all right, well, we work for the same
No,
company,
Evan,
right?
you bring up such a great point, and hi, Hugh. You bring up such a good point. Is that's the other thing that learning and development does is, create. Hi, Leah. Leah's one of our one of our community managers. Hi. Um, you're creating again what that expectation is, and you can't have one region doing one thing and one region doing another. You have to create consistency. And consistency is, again,
Yeah,
what helps to drive that performance. So I love that you
right.
said that. And you're so right.
Yeah. You could kind of like fake it in a small company, maybe, like because it's like, all right, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's still ideal to have consistency, to have this is the standard, this is how we do things, this is how we talk about something, this is what we expect from
Yeah. And
everybody.
here's the resources to help get you there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because also when you don't have like expectations and people start talking, then they're like, well, I was told something different.
Right. Right. Well, my onboarding experience looked like this. Well, my onboarding experience looked like that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. People talk. Let's not kid ourselves.
right.
It's called the water cooler, guys.
Yep. And the virtual water cooler is worse.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially when you're on a Zoom call and it's contained. No, there's
Right.
no overhearing.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's super important. Well, is there anything else you want to add with that? Or do you want to go out with a bang and plug your training coming up? Do you have other trainings coming up, by the way, besides FAA? Besides the game show?
No, I don't. I have a couple of RFPs that I'm trying to complete so I can speak at a couple of the other associations. Actually, that's not true. I am doing a coaching for peak performance for the Apartment Association of Greater Orlando and Bay Area. I
Nice.
love the partnership that Bay Area and AAGO have where they share resources. So if you see on one of the affiliate websites that somebody's doing a webinar, both of the areas can participate. But coaching for peak performance is one of my favorite sessions. I love sports, as we know, and there's a lot of analogies with sports. I try really hard not to go down a rabbit hole talking too much about sports, but there's such a correlation, between when you think about a coach of a sports team and you think about a leader in multifamily. There's a lot of correlation there. So yep, that's Tuesday or Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's Coaching for Peak Performance at 10 a.m. And you could sign up for that at either www.baahq.org or aago.org.
And that's like next week?
That's next week. That's next
Oh,
Wednesday.
okay. And is this virtual or is this in person?
It is virtual. It is
Okay.
virtual.
So that
Yes.
means you have no excuses, people. Jump in
Yep.
this.
Absolutely.
That's great. And so are you trying to head are you NAAEI faculty?
I am NAAEI faculty. I sure am. So I do have a couple of, you know, designation classes that I'll be helping to facilitate in the near future. But if you all have an opportunity to sign up for that class, I highly recommend it. It really helps with not only your facilitation skills, but also preparing for a session and how, what the thought process is behind content development.
Yeah, but it's not for the faint of heart. I have not done
It
it. I
is
know a lot of
not
people
for the
that
faint of
have.
heart.
If you
It's
want
not for
if
the
you
faint
want
of
your
heart.
soul crushed and stomped on, you know, do it, but it makes you better in the end.
It does make you better in the end. Absolutely.
Did I nail that? Is that about right?
You nailed it. Nailed it.
Because that's what I've heard. And
I'm not going to say I cried, but no, I didn't cry. I didn't cry. But
I probably
it
I'll probably
completely
cry.
changed the way that I taught. After I went through the program, I was teaching a leasing class the following week. I deleted it and started from scratch, like completely deleted on like garbage, starting all over again. And I use that same philosophy when I prepare a class. Like literally, we were laughing earlier about the chai lattes. Somehow, some way, that's going to be incorporated. I'll come up with. I was in Savannah, Georgia years ago, and we were doing a tour on the trolley. And there was, the pineapple, which is the symbol of hospitality. And I wrote a customer service class just because of that pineapple. My husband's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm talking into my phone. I'm like, "Shh, I'm making notes about the next class I'm teaching."
Sometimes it's good to dirty your latte, huh?
Sometimes it's good. Hi, Rick. I just got to see Rick. We were doing the art of no. And I also had Rick in our supervisory skills session at AAGO. Good to see you, Rick.
Yeah, we have a great crowd. I love it. Thanks to everybody that's jumped on and supported Desiree. Even if you jumped on at the end, still love it, still appreciate it. Make sure you go back and watch from the beginning immediately following this. It will be available. So you have no excuse to go back and watch this fine episode that we just put together. Desiree, it's been such a joy to have you, and I
Thank you.
appreciate you jumping on. Thank you, Heather Sizemore, for recommending
Thanks,
her,
Heather.
because I've had a great time with Desiree, and I can't wait to meet her. Hopefully, this year
Hopefully,
at FAA, not NAA, unfortunately. Although
by the way, do you know who's going to be at NAA? I literally
I
just got a
don't.
text from my
Oh
husband.
wait, yes I do. Simone Biles,
Um,
also.
she's amazing, but who were we talking about earlier with music?
Wait, oh, Ludacris.
Yeah.
Why
So
aren't you there?
I may have to figure out how to get there.
Maybe you just
I may
go
have
on
to.
vacation and go to the
I know
party. You go to my boss brunch. There's all the parties.
all the
You can
things.
you could have plenty of fun just being
Somebody
there.
adopt me and take me with you.
That's
And
right.
Kaysen, I love what Kaysen just said. Communicate culture and do it repeatedly. Yeah. You talk about it, you do it, and you reinforce it. So love that. What a great way to end that.
I'll just show that right on the screen.
Thank you.
Yeah, love that. Well, again, thanks everybody. And just like I got the recommendation to have Desiree on the show, I truly am an open platform to have any and all people. Quite a few people in the audience today were past Boss Talk guests, which I love. I love that we continue to support each other and jump on and root each other on. And so if you are interested in being on Boss Talks, I'd love to meet you, hear your story, and share it with others. So jump on here with me and we'll make it happen. But again, it's been a great Boss Talks with Desiree, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Thanks, Evan.